Massage for musicians. My hands will be the wrong way around for that, won't they? No, that is the right way around. I get confused because my camera screen flips it round. Cameras. Hello again, welcome back to the Sunday Update. I'm Lucas, as ever, and I hope you're doing well. This week has not been nearly as much carnage as last week was. That was one of the busiest weeks I've had in a long time. This week has been calmer, for one, and somehow more stressful. But before I kick the vlog off in earnest, yesterday, well, as I'm recording this yesterday, Saturday the 19th, was Mental Health Awareness Day. I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who's listened to me talking about my mental health, because a lot of the time that's what these vlogs turn into. Just me sort of talking about my state of mind and how I'm feeling, and it really does help me. I've noticed since I started this vlog that I've been able to open up to people a lot more, and that's only because, you know, I've been, well, talking to a camera, pretty much, and now the camera knows my secrets. I figure that the next step up is telling people, and that's become a lot easier now. And to everyone who's listened to me, thank you. And of course, if you're struggling with your mental health, there's so many different charities, organisations, volunteer-run support groups that are happy to help you. My particular favourite is Mind, personally, but there are lots of them out there, and there will be some inevitably that are tailored to specifically what it is that you're feeling at the moment. And if you want to seek help, and not everyone does, but if you do, talk to your friends, talk to these people, it will help. But I thought it was quite fitting that I started off with something on a health related note, because one of the more exciting things that happened this week was I got a massage, which I cannot tell you how much of a difference it makes, really. So for the entire time that I've been at the University Music Department, there's been a flyer up at the bottom of one of the staircases saying massage for musicians, and I've been looking at it for the last 2.5 years now and thinking, oh well, I could go, but I don't really feel like I need it, or oh, I don't really have the time, or oh, it's a little bit too expensive for me, you know, pulling out all the classic excuses I could find. And then a few weeks ago I noticed how much everything was piling up at the moment, what with the portfolio deadline I had last week, with another deadline I've got coming up next week with the recital on the 1st of June, and I thought, no, I'm going to need something at that point, because I'm going to be stressed. And I've done some reading around the subject, and the more stressed you are, the more likely you are to pick up physical... what's the word? Injuries is too severe, it's like sort of a... I've lost the word. A small injury, I guess. Why can't I remember the word? Incidentally, if you're thinking about that kind of thing anyway, then I can't find the book here at the moment. I know I've got it somewhere. There's a wonderful book by Jenny Morton. As I was saying, there's a wonderful book by Jenny Morton called The Authentic Performer, which looks at these things in a very music-specific context, admittedly, but it's really interesting reading about the relationship between stress and ailments, I guess we'll call them. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, there's a whole 2 chapters, I think, one about the science of it and one about how to deal with it. And that book, honestly, is like, it's one of my Bibles. I live by that book. It's fantastic, and if it's something that might be relevant to you, I strongly recommend you go and pick it up. I did Trump hands then. But anyway, going back to my original point, I went for a massage, and I learned some things that I was quite surprised to learn, actually. For one, I learned that my left arm is surprisingly, well, flexible. I am aware that I play an instrument which requires some lopsided arms, some asymmetry, which isn't good for the shoulders, which isn't good for the arms or the spine or the neck. But apparently my left arm's really flexible, so that's good. Sorry, well, relaxed, not flexible. If there's one way to describe me, it's not flexible. But it's very relaxed. My right arm, less so. But, hopefully, I'll work at it. And hopefully it will get better, because if it doesn't, that would probably be quite bad. And I came out of it so completely rejuvenated. It feels like a cliche to say it, but I got up after the massage had finished, and I felt so light. Like, it was amazing. I think if I wanted to take this another step further, I'd go to a chiropractor, but I don't think that's probably a good idea for the first time going to a chiropractor, right before I need to do a lot of movement, so maybe not. But that's something I'll look into, I think, especially if I actually start exercising again. But yeah, it's really helped calm me down, both physically and mentally as well, which is great because I'm really stressed. Because right now is the busy time of finishing my film music project. If you haven't seen the vlog before, I'm scoring a scene from Of Mice and Men. If you haven't read the book, well done, really. It's quite hard to avoid it. I'm scoring the final scene with Lenny and Curly's wife. No spoilers. Not that I really think I need to worry about spoilers for it, but there you go. And so I've just about finished all the recording. Not quite, I've actually got a little bit I need to do, which hopefully will be done on Monday, and then it's got to be handed in on Thursday, which just means I'm going to be camping in our computer cluster, because it's the only place with the software, and it closes at 9 o'clock, and that's scary. That's really scary, because it means I've actually got very little time to finish this. So I'm glad I started as early as I did, because a lot of people haven't done. I must say I'm not best pleased with the department on this matter, and I probably shouldn't stick my neck on the line like this in a public forum, but they recently introduced parental controls on their computers. Not because we're children, well, we sometimes are children, but because they wanted everyone kicked out by 9 o'clock. Because otherwise they've got to have people keeping an eye on the place, they've got to lock the doors, got to make sure no one can break in, because there's a lot of equipment in there that's really expensive. So I can see why they've done it. But the issue that we have with this is that it is the only place we can do this work. Because, okay, there's a couple of us who have laptops, for example, that are powerful enough to run the editing software, although that's expensive in and of itself unless you get a free trial. And if you've already used your free trial, well then, you know, good luck. But if you're not that lucky, then this is the only place you can do it. And this isn't a case like the practice rooms being open till 9, for example, where you can just go and practice in your room, with the permission of your neighbours, obviously. You know, instead of writing an essay in the department, you just go to the library, or you go to the big computer space in the main sort of area next to the Students' Union. It's not like that, because there is nowhere else that it can be done. And that's put a lot of people in a really awkward position, because it's been done without us being told. And so we're a little bit miffed, really. I can't help but feel a little cynical about it, because we were recently asked to fill in some course unit surveys so that they can work on the course, make it better for next year. I can't help but notice that the deadline for that went, and then immediately they changed this parental controls feature. Am I reading too much into it? Maybe. But the timing seems very coincidental, shall we say. And I really hope they haven't done that. I really do. I want to be positive, but sometimes they make it hard for me. Hopefully it will all be sorted in time. But that may not be the case. And if not, I would not want to be one of those lecturers on the receiving end of the emails that are coming their way. Because I don't think they'll be particularly polite. On a lighter note, I've been doing a gig. I had a couple of rehearsals for it, and I had a gig Friday night with the Transition Orchestra for the Not Quite Light Festival, which, truth be told, I know nothing about, because my attitude to these concerts is very much turn up to the rehearsals, play the music, turn up to the gig, play the music, go home. But this was slightly more special for me, because it was with an old friend of mine, someone who's actually vaguely famous. I say vaguely, pretty famous. A woman called Julie Hesmanhay. For those of you who don't know her, she's best known for her role on Coronation Street as Hayley, I want to say Cropper. I'm probably wrong, because I've never seen Coronation Street. Notable, as far as I'm aware, for her outgoing storyline, where they explored assisted suicide, I believe. For one, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but soap opera's not my thing. I feel like they quite often just shoehorn issues in, try and get ratings up. I don't like them. Also, it's too much of a commitment. I can't watch them every day. That would... No. But I used to go on holiday with Julie to a hotel in South Wales. Not specifically with Julie, of course. I went with my dad's side of the family. We'd all go down, and this was at the age when I was, oh goodness, like 12, 13 or so. And all the kids at the hotel would just end up mingling, playing games. And Julie happened to be one of the parents there. And it was great. It was absolutely lovely. And it took me about 5 years after I had first met her for my parents to say to me, by the way, you do realise that she's actually slightly famous, right? Like, she does appear on the telly. And I was bamboozled by that. But yeah, I did a gig with her. She was the guest speaker at this transition gig. And it was lovely. It was really nice to catch up with her. And it was really nice to catch up with her husband. And it was great. It was lovely. I've said it was lovely a lot, but it was. Like, it wasn't any great deep spiritual moment. It wasn't calamitous. It was just nice. And I've missed having something that's just nice. Anyway, we've exchanged contact details. I will hopefully get in touch with her at some point. Maybe she can find me a job. That'd be lovely. But I think that's a little bit too much to ask of her, so maybe not. And that's about it. It's been a worky week, because a lot of my time has been spent recording and editing this film music project. So not as many exciting things have happened this time, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway. Now, before I go, I did want to bring a couple of things. I mentioned earlier in the video that I was doing a recital, and that is actually a public concert. Now, this may be a big ask of some of you, because I don't actually know where a lot of you guys listen from. Or watch from. I've spent too much time doing radio. I don't know where a lot of my viewer base is, but if you happen to be near the Manchester area, I've got a recital on the 1st of June at 2:30, which is a public concert, counts for 40 credits of my degree, and I'm sort of compelled to invite people, so I figure this is a fairly good environment to do so. There'll be a link for that in the description, as well as a link to a project that I have mentioned a few vlogs back, and that is Bad Guitar Covers. I have booked my slot for that, and I'm totally not ready, but that's kind of the point. And that's happening on Tuesday the 5th of June. I thought I was right. That's at 2:30 as well. Oh, I didn't realise both my recitals were at 2:30. It'd be lovely to see you there. If not, because obviously it may not be possible for you guys, I've also set up an event page for it on Facebook, which again will be linked down in the description next to the recital link. And assuming I can get to grips with the tech, I will be live streaming it on there. So if you just click going, you will see when it goes live. You are more than welcome to laugh at me, because I will most certainly be laughing at myself. Right, I better get off. Work to do. All that's left to say is, I've been Lucas, you've been great, and you've been watching the Sunday Update. Thank you very much, and take care.